Good morning. Welcome to Gale Math Science Academy. We are actually doing a little walkthrough this morning. It's early, about 30 minutes before the kids actually arrive at the school. This is our east building, our primary building with grades K through 4. Pre-K through 4. So we have 3-year-olds all the way to 4th grade. We have a very creative crew in our primary building. They have decorated the walls and the doors for the holidays, and it is just absolutely gorgeous. When you walk in the door, you get the feel of the holidays. The kids love it. Try to keep a nice, colorful building. See, we have a wall of fame per se. We have photographs from the 1940s all the way to the present, graduating classes. Here you see our attendance challenge wall, where every month kids are charted by room, trying to keep them here every day. Attendance expectations. Celebrating all of our students and the countries that they're coming from. Our attendance champs, each month the group with the best attendance gets a nice banner for our attendance champs. Anti-bullying rules posted throughout the building, incentive trips, positive information, keep smiling. The rules, the norms for grade level, wear proper uniform, be respectful. Now we are entering into our responsibility room. This is just a room where the kids can come with our social worker and counseling intern to have a timeout moment if they're having a bad day or they just need a moment to fairness, trustworthiness, responsibility, caring, respect. Just a quiet spot in the building. Different signs of quiet that we use when they're in the responsibility room. Where are your glasses? You don't know?
My baby brother broke my glasses.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So, did we all find, brownie? Yeah, it's by the shelf back there. So he's gonna give me the report in the afternoon. But today, we're gonna learn something else. We're gonna learn, it's funny, maybe you would say it's funny. Learning how to be a learner. Learning how to be a learner. So it's a lot of work. Yes? You like the puppy? But you know what? This puppy doesn't know how to behave in a kindergarten class. He doesn't know how to behave in a kindergarten class. We need to teach him how to behave in the classroom. So we're supposed to be playing in the classroom? No, right? So he needs to learn some rules. Like we do, right? Every single day we need to practice our classroom rule, right? So he needs to learn some rules. He is kind of hyper, right? So we're gonna put him here, but he needs to learn how to behave in the classroom, right? So today we have some rules. We have some rules that we need to follow in the classroom. Because if we wanted to learn, because our objective for today is that we're learning to learn. Say it again. We're learning to learn. Or to be a learners, right? So we need what? Eyes to watch. So our eyes are watching. Show me your eyes. Our eyes are watching. Abdul, show me your eyes. Right here.
Feels like a thunderstorm.
Thank you. We have a wide range of emotions today. A lot of, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I feel like a sunny day with some breeziness, some winds, because there's a lot of things that are happening in my life that feel like the wind is kind of blowing on me. So, but it's a sunny day. I'm in a good mood.
Pay attention. Yeah. So you want to give respect to the person who's talking, so that you can listen to their ideas. Yeah. Yeah. Responsibility. So be responsible for your actions, for your words. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, yeah. Is you don't want to say things that'll hurt people. You want to be responsible with the types of words you're using. You want to encourage people. You want to be positive, right? Good. Do you have other? Yeah. Do you have other? Yeah. Go ahead. Oh, that's beautiful. Don't try to destroy one another. Don't knock down people's ideas. Yeah. So you want to work as a team. You want to listen to other people. Yeah. Cooperate. Yes, that was a good one. That was a good one that people would. Is you want to really cooperate with each other so that.
This is our greenhouse where we have paperweights growing for the holiday season. Our students and some community partners are working on this project together. It's kind of an entrepreneurial experiment too, where the students will actually sell their product.
Put your headphones on just in case. Just in case. I should not hear you talking. Soon as I put it in, get started on your start test.
This is our responsibility room in our annex building with grades 5 through 8. Again, they can come in. This is where our social worker and counselors have their anger management groups, CBITS groups, just some counseling. It's a really comfortable space. As you can see, we have a little couch for the kids to relax. We have a table area where they can actually come and sit and do some work or artwork, have some discussions. We also have a space for our circles. So it's just a really comfortable space with some encouraging posters and words throughout the room. Self-control, good judgment, being respectful, perseverance, and some other great sayings. Pleasant words are like a honeycomb, sweetness to the soul and health to the bones. One kind word can change someone's entire day. Sticks and stones will break your bones, but words can hurt even more. Words can hurt or heal. What did yours do today? As you can see, we kind of surround our students with ready?
I'm Josephine Hatch Skipper. I teach 6th grade here at Gale Academy.
Okay, Ms. Skipper, I have a couple of questions for you, about 4 questions. What SEL programs and activities have been successful in your classroom and with your students?
Well, the second step program that we use on a weekly basis has been very helpful in developing my students. The foundation of the lessons that we do are all on empathy, and I think that's very important for us as we develop as a community in our classroom about being empathetic toward each other. And so the lessons that we use, I love that there's an application piece to it, and so we're able to study the lesson, look at the components of empathy, and then put those things into practice.
Great, great. Now, why is social emotional learning important to you and your students?
As a teacher in the industry that I work in, it's not we're not machines. I'm building people. I'm building character. One thing that's important to me as an educator is not just to give the kids academic skills and say, okay, you're going to be a lawyer or you're going to be a policeman or a doctor. I think it's just as important to build their values and morals so that you have a moral doctor and a moral policeman and a moral teacher. So the social emotional learning part is important in developing a well-rounded child, not just one who is academically sound, but also that is emotionally sound. So that's why I think these things are very important.
Great. Number 3, what changes or improvements school-wide have you witnessed with the implementation of the SEL programs?
Changes that I've seen with the children are they're just responding to each other a lot more. Now that we still have our issues, so I'm not going to sugarcoat it or make it like a fairy tale. So there are still sometimes with issues, but I still think that the children are developing more in a positive way, where there might have been 80 to 90% of incidents happening that were bad or negative, I could say now that maybe 20 to 25%, of those students are doing something negative or something that's not beneficial to us to the classroom. So I have seen a decrease. I've seen children want to develop a relationship with me more, because the relationship part of teaching is so essential. And so instead of them just trying to handle things by themselves and take it to a negative place, they will involve me with it and allow me to mediate whatever it needs to happen. So I think the relationship part of SEL in between them and me has really been impactful.
Great. Last question. What advice would you give to educators who'd like to implement SEL activities or programs in their classroom?
Well, I think sometimes as teachers, we just think everything should be academic, and we're like, okay, so what is this new thing and how is this really going to help? But I think you need to be open to seeing, to looking at how it can really be beneficial in your classroom. Don't just be a naysayer and say, I don't want to do it because it's non-academic. But it's part of it, because you're dealing with people, and a part of dealing with people is developing them emotionally and psychologically.
All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Skipper. Any other advice that you'd like to give to schools or just anything else that you'd like to say?
Well, just be open to it and look at the program, and just sometimes you might have to tailor it to your students' needs. Sometimes it's not just, I just follow it as Bible as wrote, but you have to look and see how it'll affect your kids and how impactful or effective it'll be.
Great. Thank you for your time and consideration, and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
The activities that we are doing in my room currently are peace circles, and they work very well because it allows the students to really understand each other and learn something new about the other person.
Why is social emotional learning important to you and your students?
It's very important because it allows the student to understand the other person's feeling, and I think that's very important. With today's society, with the video games, it kind of desensitizes kids. So when we do the peace circles, it kind of allow the students to really get into the emotional part of our world. I think overall the school is calmer. I can say that at least.
What advice would you give to educators who'd like to implement SEL activities or programs in their classrooms?
My advice to teachers is to be very persistent. Also be patient. It is going to take time to get kids to open up to you as well as to their classmates. So please, those are the two words you should remember: consistency and patience.
I think the most successful programs or activities was the information pertaining to the brain, how certain stressors affect the brain. My students really enjoyed the video clip on happiness and its effects on the brain, as well as the information about dopamine and the activities that they could do to increase the dopamine.
Why is social emotional learning important to you and your students?
It's important because it helps them resolve conflicts and helps them to better interact with their peers.
What advice would you give to educators who'd like to implement SEL activities or programs in their classrooms?
The advice I would give would be to carve out a particular segment of time and be as consistent as possible with implementing those activities.